Now is the time to set up your own document for your 4-page magazine spreads. So what we're going to do is this. You're going to start first, and there's a couple little things that are funky with this, so definitely try this out and then let me know if you have questions. First thing you're going to do is go to File and New and go to Document. Now when this comes up, what you're going to choose is go ahead and choose Print. And we'll wait and see. Come on, there we go. And I'm going to do Letter. And I'm going to do 4 pages. I'm going to choose Facing Pages. And what I'd recommend is let's go ahead and put it on a different page. So rather than having it be page 1, 2, 3, 4, let's put a different number in there. Most magazine articles are not going to start on page 1. We can always make adjustments to this later, so don't worry about choosing the wrong one now. Pick whatever number you want. I'm just going to say it's on page 57. Yours doesn't have to start there, and we can always change this afterwards. But for that, I'm going to start. I'm going to make sure it's 4 pages, and I'm going to change this to inches. I'm also going to change this up here, and what I want to do for the name is I want to do my last name, first initial, underscore, mag, spread. So last name, first initial, mag spread should be 8.5 inches by 11 inches, 4 pages, facing, and pick a different number for the start. And then while we're at it, we may as well put in some columns. Now, the number of columns, you can change this as well. You do not have to do exactly this set. But what I'm going to do just to start is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to increase the number of columns to 6. And then here for margin, I'm going to turn off the link. And I'm going to, usually the bottom is a little bit bigger than any of the other areas because there has to be room for the folio. But for this part, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and decrease the top margin a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and increase the outside margins. Now, again, yours do not have to be like this. If you want to skip over this part for now and come back to it, I have a different video that'll show you how to make adjustments, or I can help you one-on-one. And then for the bleed, I want to make sure that I do include a bleed. So I'm going to do 1/8 of an inch bleed. So I'm just moving this up. So that's 0.125. The reason they're all changing at the same time is because I've got that chain link set up. We're going to ignore slug. Slug is hardly ever used. And that will be it. And I'll hit create. Now, here comes the part that's a little funky. So you may have to mess with this a little bit. So I'm going to zoom out just so you can see the way the pages are set up. This is the way InDesign sets up pages. I want this one to be next to this one. But the problem is they're not allowing you to do that by default. So let me show you how to fix that. What we're going to do is I'm going to go to Pages. So right here, this allows me to drag and move it around, but notice it's not staying. This is what you have to do. Select your first page. Hold down your Shift key and click on the last page. This will select all pages in here. Then right-click, and these two are checked, where it says allow document pages to shuffle and allow selected spreads to shuffle. We're going to turn both of those off. So we're going to turn the first one off. Then I'm going to go back here. As long as they're still selected, I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to turn off allow selected spreads to shuffle. Notice this little subtle thing changed, these little brackets. Now, this is the part where you may run into some problems. Click away somewhere in this area where your pages are. I'm going to drag this first one. Notice how it gives me a black line or a white bracket or a white straight line. Each one of those does something different. If I put it here, it makes it a 3-page spread. I'm going to undo. If I put it right here as a bracket, it adds it to the left of that page. If I put it over here, it adds it to the right. Notice this little thin white line in the middle? That's showing you the spine. That's showing you where the center is of the spread. What I wanted, and if I move this right here where it's a straight line, see what it did is it made a separate page. So those are probably the 4 different things that may end up happening for you. This is what you're going to do. So now you're going to hold your mouse button down. You're going to drag up here and drag it to the top, but make it so it's the white little bracket. And notice how the symbol, it's got a little black arrow pointing to the right or a black arrow pointing to the left. I want to have it pointing to the left because I want to put this on the left side. I'll put that there. If by chance you make a mistake and it's over here, you just have to keep trying until you can get it to where this white line is in the center like it is down here. So I'm going to move this one out. There we go. So now I've got 2 facing spreads. So one side versus the other. Again, bleed is just there at the non-printing area. That's where if you want to have a photo, I would recommend start your photo frame way outside. And it'll just clip it off at that edge. It's just good practice to have photos or colors of backgrounds going to that bleed line. All right. So that is how you'll set up your document to begin. And if you want to make changes to any of this, if you decide you want to add more columns, or if you want to change the gutter size, or you want to change the margin, what you're going to need to do is you have to select all of the pages. So I just held down the Shift key. Then you can go to your properties. And if you want to adjust the margins, see how it's affecting both of them. So you might decide, oh, I want to have it up higher, or I want to have this a little bit lower, or maybe I want to have a little bit more space in the middle, or a little less space in the middle, a little more space on the outside. So you can make adjustments here and then start doing your layouts. So we can always come back here and make adjustments. So don't get too hung up if you decide it's not fitting the exact one that you want. Forgot one last thing. Save the file. You've got to save the file.